sources.
Oh, okay.
Tonight.
Is it every
The
program? or is
warning
it
will go out
usually
tonight.
live?
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh, I see it came on right now, so we,
Realize that. I didn't
so is,
realize
Michelle, is the tape running, or is it?
And it's also recorded, so they replay it.
Okay,
So I have to
so I guess
do
we
it
can
myself?
start.
Yeah.
All right,
No, I have to.
okay.
That's impossible.
All right, good evening. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the North Branford Conservation and Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency to order. Again, this meeting is on Wednesday, October 26th, and it's approximately 6:35 PM. First thing we'd like to do is just do a roll call of everyone seated here this evening. We have regular members Frank Borgano, we have Ashley Joyner, and Jerry Fishback. We also have Town Engineer Victor Benny, and we also want to welcome Marie Diamond, our liaison from the Town Council. She's here with us this evening. I'm Steve Scavo. I'll be chairman for this evening's meeting. Next item would be Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next item would be number 3, minutes. There are minutes from September 28th, 2022. Is anyone willing to, does anyone have any revisions or modifications? Or either a motion to
I'll
accept
make
the
a
minutes?
motion to approve the minutes of Wednesday, September 28th, 2022.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. those-
Abstain.
Okay,
I wasn't here.
that's okay, noted. And they are passed into the record. Okay, next we're going to go to item 4, which is new business. Item A, application 2022-16, 26 Lake Road, site plan, proposed construction of a 22-foot by 15-foot by 6-inch addition off rear of house and rebuild 14-foot by 15-foot deck next to new addition within wetlands and upland review area. Receipt and determination of significant activity. Owner Michael Sparingo, applicant Bart Salzillo, B&S Building and Remodeling LLC.
Is anyone here tonight representing? Yes,
Oh, if you could just come up to the microphone, just identify yourself for the record, sir.
I'm Bart Salzillo from B&S Building and Remodeling,
Okay,
and I'm applying for this to get the addition off the back for Michael Springo and his family.
okay. So just one quick question, is it looking, it looks like it's on like pretty much established lawn, it's on the back of the house, so is it fairly
It
level?
is, and there was a deck that was there previously that was
So-
torn down.
Oh, okay, so
we
the
were
deck was
making
already
space with
existing?
the deck, plus a little bit more.
Gotcha, and I see the picture. So basically, you're doing work in a flat area, you're gonna stay in the same footprint of the deck, and the addition, is it gonna require any large excavation or anything, or is it gonna be sonotubes, or?
No, it's gonna be piers, but they'll
Piers.
be 4.5 feet by 4.5 feet square. So they're piers, there's 3 different piers under
Got
the
it.
addition, and then 2 smaller ones under the deck.
Gotcha,
To
but
support both.
you won't be really grading, the slope, what's
No.
there is pretty much, you're gonna do it on
Yes,
at
there's
grade
not
there.
gonna be regrading, it's just strictly digging the holes for the footings.
For the footings and the piers.
pouring those, correct.
Gotcha, okay.
And the upland review area, because this wasn't delineated on any of our maps.
I'm assuming it's this shadow.
You
This-
think it's that shadow?
I think it's that shadow.
Yeah, there was a shadow that was way back, it's about
I
95
couldn't
feet.
tell.
That's where that dimension is.
Actually, I see it here, but it's very faint.
So- I'm like,
Right, but that's where
okay.
you're measuring 95 feet to the edge
Yes.
of that shadow, if that shadow in fact represents the 100-foot wetland review.
Is that the upland review area, or is that the wetlands?
I don't know that. I just came to the building department, and I think that's the uplands.
It looks like 95 feet to the border of the wetlands, you know,
Right,
or-
that's how I interpret it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's.
So that is wetlands.
Yeah.
So in terms of the upland review, based on how I'm reading this, it's only 5 feet in the upland review area.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
That's how I interpret it.
that's
as
how I
well.
interpret it too, so.
That's right.
Does anyone else have any further questions or concerns? It looks pretty straightforward, but
If in fact that is the wetland border, or is it the wetland border or the
That's what I'm
upland
interpreting.
review?
That's what
I'm
I'm
interpreting it's the wetland
Right.
border. Because the upland review's 100 feet, and he's pointing out the 100 feet. Right?
Well, if that's the case, I have no problems with this.
Yeah, I don't have any problems either.
So if there's no other concerns or,
Actually, Victor, can I ask a favor? You had an aerial photo?
Yes. So
That one showed there was a pool there, I think?
So that, just
So-
so you know what that's from, that's I believe that's probably the 2019 GIS, so we're a few years off. I'm not sure what the current layout is behind the house, but I just wanted to give you folks an idea of the fact that, it is a maintained yard
Right.
area behind the house already, so, the disturbance would be over an area that's already
Disturbed.
Well, the pool
maintained.
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, no, I got that.
Right.
No,
Oh,
I just,
right,
that's what I wanted to point out, is
Yeah.
that they've already had things there. This is not like
Correct.
you're doing something brand new. It's
so
already
basically, the
existing.
addition's gonna be where the old pool was in that same
The
general area.
pool and the
And the deck.
yes.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
The additions where the deck is and where the pool is would be the deck area.
Did you want to make the motion? You want me to do it? Okay, so I'd like to make a motion, please.
Okay,
I move to approve application number 2022-15, site plan application for building a 22-foot by 15-foot 6-inch addition off rear of house and rebuild 14-foot by 15-foot deck next to new addition within wetlands and upland review area at 26 Lake Road, map 5, lot 138, owner Michael Sparagino.
Springo.
Springo, applicant Bart Salzillo,
Salzillo.
I'll get it eventually. BNS Building and Remodeling LLC as contained in submitted application documents with the following conditions, standard conditions 1 through 17.
okay, do we have a second?
Roger.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye, okay, motion
Thank you.
passes, good luck. Okay, we're gonna move on under new business to item B, which is application 2022-17, 52 Twin Lakes Road, site plan, which is proposed replacement of a pre-built detached garage, 20 by 20 feet within the 100-foot upland review area. Receipt and determination of significant activity, owner applicant Tracy Makalitis. Oh, if you want to come up and just identify yourself for the record and,
Hi, Tracy Maculitis.
okay. Anything you want to add to, we got your application here, is it?
I actually have, I think you might have another map there, because I have two options after I put in the application. I just wanted to give you guys the option of where I could place it. There's two possible locations, one's preferred, one whatever. The first location is proposed on that map, and it's fine. I have neighbors that are over there, so that's kind of in their backyard, and we've been neighbors for 30 years, and I just feel like I don't want to make them.
Can I ask one quick question?
Oh, yeah.
It says that you're replacing a pre-built shed?
No, I'm just adding a
So
pre-built.
when you read it, Steve, it said that you were,
Did I say replace? I don't think I.
so it's just
Proposed-
Just
placement.
putting a
Gotcha.
proposed,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I
proposed
missed-
pre-built.
Yeah, my mistake,
Okay.
proposed
Yeah.
placement, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a
Yeah, good
proposed,
point.
just a proposed two-car garage. I had moved my parents in, and I have a two-car garage, but I converted half of it into like a rehab center for my mother, because Medicare covers 30 minutes a week at a facility, so we kind of set it up, and just to be able to have space for the other cars, because we have like 5 cars, and so I haven't bought anything yet, but usually when I do things, I end up doing it and then realize I have to come before you guys. So I was thinking about it, and I said, let me just see if I can do it before I plan it. So here I am,
So that square is proposed.
That's one
Where was the
proposed.
other option?
right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so the other option, I'd have to do like just a natural gravel stone across the front, but to be honest with you, when I pull in my house, that would look better, And I have a heck of a lot of lawn to take care of, and that would just take away some of the lawn I have to take care of. I'm just being
ulterior
honest,
motive.
it's,
So.
what was that?
You're
Ulterior
saying this
motive.
is
Yeah.
an all-established line, I'm trying to get an
It's
idea.
all-
Is that too close to the property line?
No, that's
22
within,
feet. I think the setback, it might be okay, it might be a
Yeah.
20-foot setback.
It's
Yep.
only 20, it's not
Yeah.
25?
yeah.
You know,
That's okay.
yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it's 20, because I went through that with my property years
Okay.
ago.
It is, but it is, and my neighbor's back of their house is right there, so I don't know how pretty it's gonna look for them. That's why I was trying to think of alternatives. And to be honest with you, if I did it in the other location, I just feel like it would just take up space over there
But of
and
course,
look
in the
better.
other location, that's right along the wetlands.
Yeah, so the wetlands, if you look at the perimeter of my property where the wooded area is, that's wet.
Uh-huh.
The lawn around my house, I mean, if it was wet, I wouldn't have to mow it, and it's been a lawn for 30 years since
So
we
your,
moved in.
your alternate location, which is number, I'm looking at it here, 4,
Yeah.
that is established law, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, it's established lawn, and it's, yeah, it was just another, I happened to come home one day and I was looking at it and I was like, wow, it'd be great, because not only that, I could pull up in front of the house when I have to do groceries, and it's just, it would be a whole different,
Well, it's your right to propose alternatives.
exactly, so I figure alternatives are good,
So,
and,
I just have a couple questions, and I
Yeah.
assume you're building on slab, right? You're not doing, is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
a level area? You're not
It's
gonna have to
level.
execute? Okay, so
Is
it'll be
it
on
slab or is it the tubes? Because we have a pre-built one that's 20 by 20 and it's on tubes.
so I thought like the monolithic slab, I mean, I haven't, like I said, I haven't gone in to get pricing for I just looked at the structures, and I thought, I've done construction for so many years with different additions, that to have something pre-built and delivered to me sounds great. So as far as the foundation goes, I haven't investigated that yet, but I could do either a slab or, so when you say tubes, you mean the footings with the
Yep.
slab? Yeah, so,
It's footings and then the garage itself just sits right on top of the footings.
oh, and you don't, so what do you have down for, you have like crushed
There's
stone?
gravel
stone, yeah.
underneath, yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that's it.
It involves less digging and
Yep,
everything.
it's
And-
less
and-
digging,
Yeah.
it's less disturbance.
And we need to know that, because
Yeah.
we need to know exactly what we're approving, so
Right.
it's good that we're discussing this, you know?
Yeah.
We gotta, when we actually do a motion to pass it, we need to know that. so-
Especially in the alternate setting because it does go into the wetlands area itself.
Yeah.
So,
And is your driveway paved or is it stone?
So the whole driveway going down to the house is paved, but then I have stone where that proposed first one is sitting. It's just crushed stone, because the driveway's like so narrow when you get down to the, is that the most current
No,
aerial?
well, so our GIS only gets me to
2019,
2019, yeah.
Okay.
And it's not the best.
yeah.
Wasn't
So I
the best
had,
flyover
you
that
had
year,
approved
so-
an addition
we can take it off.
last year for me, so it's
I wanna say-
moved out a little.
Just so I understand, your initial was gonna go right here, correct?
Yep,
Your proposed is going
Gonna be off that
here, I'm
corner
saying,
right
right
here.
here?
yeah,
Oh,
off,
you got-
right there
sorry.
where the hand is, yep.
Gotcha, all right.
So, yeah, right in that area.
So what is to get to the garage, is this gonna store your vehicles in it, or?
In the winter, yeah, I have
So
a
are you planning on putting
convertible.
a
and-
driveway in, either crushed stone or?
Just crushed stone, not a paved,
Okay.
nothing paved.
Okay.
What else are you gonna store in there?
Tractor, tools, every kind, maybe my father will work out there, I don't
I
know.
thought you were gonna say father.
Yeah.
It is.
I would love to have a second floor and put myself out there.
Maybe we should look at it to see, is that what you're
Hold on,
suggesting?
thank you.
Yeah, maybe look at it and to get it, you know, because obviously the initial location is, well, it looks like the whole property is within the buffer, just looking at it, but.
Right, but the actual
Yeah.
wetlands boundary
It
is where
probably-
the second one was
It
going
would
to be.
probably be good to see, you know, what this looks like, as, you know, how close it would be to the wetlands, so. Here's
Well,
what
it
we,
is, according to this map, it's
Yeah.
in the wetlands.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Oh, yeah,
according
yeah.
to the map, my entire property is wetlands.
Right, and I know
And there
it's
is,
pretty-
if you look, there's the properties behind, so if you go back to that picture, you can see the properties behind, there's a drainage, so lack of, if you look at that little line that's going right there.
That's like a
So
drainage
that
swale,
goes-
or?
That's like a stream that comes from the back of the house over there and goes down into the front.
Is that a drainage swale or a
I
year-round
have
stream?
a drain under the driveway, so if it rains a lot, we'll get some runoff to go through there into the front woods, and then I think there's like something that goes under the road in the far corner, so that all drains out that way. But, and then in the backyard, the very backyard, there's dirt, you know, ducks sometimes. There's water with ducks and stuff, but that whole front area, I mow it. It's
Okay.
dry.
Well, here's what I'm just gonna propose to the agency members. What I think would be good for us, it's better for us before we to make a decision, since you have two choices, just to look at it. And so what we'd like you to do is, if you could, nothing fancy, if you could stake out both locations, the one on the here, then your proposed one. So that way, when we come there, we can just take a quick look and evaluate it, you know what I mean? It's,
That and investigate if you're gonna do it on slab, or
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're gonna do it on.
because that has a big difference to us, especially if
It
you're
is.
close to the wetland, we prefer less excavation,
You
but.
prefer these tubes that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not
And
asking you to do
so-
something that's, you know, that you weren't planning, but for us, it makes a big difference, you know, how you.
okay. And so if they're on the tubes, you don't have any like rodents that get in?
Nope.
Mice or anything, it just sits right
No,
in the
no.
stone?
Nothing stops mice.
Yeah,
No,
nothing
not-
stops
nothing-
mice, but.
Whether it's
no.
on slab or not.
Yeah,
What it
slab
maybe
or
is, maybe you
no,
might get
no.
an occasional, you know, possum,
Yeah,
that
we
takes a
get an
shortcut up there.
occasional
because-
possum underneath and an occasional raccoon underneath.
But they're not gonna, it's not, they're not, you know, we're joking, it's not, nothing's gonna live there, but you're not gonna stop mice unless you know, you know, it doesn't matter. Being on slab or on a sonotube is not gonna stay, if they're gonna come, they're gonna come, you'll have to deal with that.
But my thought is if it's on gravel, and say there's an oil leak,
Uh-huh.
the oil's gonna get into the gravel. If it's on slab, it's gonna sit on top of the concrete.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd rather see slab, especially
Okay.
if
If
it's
it's in the
closer
wetland.
to the
Yeah,
wetland.
that's actually good. If you're not excavating it, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, and, you know, obviously, you're not gonna store massive amounts of fuel and stuff in there, but, you know, you could always get drippage from a vehicle. It happens to end, so.
And then
but-
she said she's gonna have a tractor in there and
Yeah.
whatever else, so
Yeah.
more, if it's, you
That-
probably have oil in there too. for
That's a
the
good
tractor,
point.
right?
Small drips, instead of going right in and washing
Into
it.
the stone,
Yep.
yeah.
If that's what you're planning on storing, that, okay.
Yeah.
But I still think it's up to you guys. It would be
Yeah.
nice to go and see the two locations and just, it would give us a good idea of what we can, you know, what we feel comfortable approving, so.
You haven't purchased anything. When are you looking to do this project, in the spring?
Probably this spring. I mean, I'm not in a rush, but again, I just wanted to get ahead of it because I know.
Oh, that's
Okay.
smart,
Sure.
because you gotta line everything up, you know,
Yeah.
contractors, everything's
Sure.
a
Yeah.
challenge these days, so.
Yeah.
So then I would say we could just, I guess, pick the
Okay.
time for a set one.
Yeah, okay. I can reach out to you guys to set something up.
Well, we kinda do it right now.
We'll actually do it, yeah. So-
Okay.
So that way,
Yeah.
well, obviously, because you're here, because, you know,
Yeah.
you're a part of this, we don't wanna just show up on your property if you're
Right.
not here.
So I travel a lot, so that's my only issue. I have to
Yeah.
check my calendar because I'm in
Okay.
Massachusetts like 4 times a
It
week
probably
right
wouldn't be
now.
during the week now because daylight savings time
Right.
ends next week, so
Yeah.
we'll probably have to be like, you know, a lot of times we do it on a Saturday morning, or, you know, or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Okay.
depending on
so-
how, you know, I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example. Like, usually with daylight savings time goes, that's usually the only light that we can.
So did you say you do it during the week or you do it a Saturday?
We probably would do it on a Saturday
Saturday.
morning. We prefer during the week when we have, but I don't think there'll be enough time to schedule that, so, whatever you guys think is a good time,
I
or.
think Saturday morning is the only time.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we do Saturday, can?
You can check your calendar, it's
Yeah, you don't have
fine.
to-
We don't wanna
Just
pressure you.
No, no,
into
we-
anything.
Get back with
We're just
Victor.
giving you we're just saying now, you know what days to look at. It doesn't have to be this
Okay.
Saturday, I mean, it could be
Yeah.
any,
Okay, perfect.
whatever it could be,
Yeah.
because since you're not in a hurry, the good news, you know, we have time,
Yeah,
so.
you have until the spring. I mean, they have Black Friday specials, I guess, sheds and stuff, so if I were gonna purchase it, but I wouldn't take delivery, so.
Right.
So I plan.
But we're willing to go as soon as we can all agree on it, you know.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be a big, it looks like a very simple, I'll bet you have 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
This coming Saturday. Are you available?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm in New York on Saturday, sorry.
That's okay, no, don't be sorry. So, that's what I would say between now and, you know, in the next couple of weeks, whatever, if you have a Saturday morning, that we
Okay.
could go and, you know, we usually like to do it like around, what, 8:30-ish? That way, no one
Perfect.
ties, we don't want to tie up anyone's day.
Got it. Okay.
Or, I mean, we don't want to wake you up either, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just suggesting we can get in and out of
It's
there.
going earlier than we ever do.
So I just throw that out there, now, you know, I mean. there's
I'm
only-
good with 8:30.
You good with 8:30?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good with 8.
Michelle and I are like,
Yeah.
no, we have to
Sleep
sleep.
in, for goodness gracious, on Saturdays.
That's
Ugh.
okay.
We can go at
You
9.
figure out which Saturdays you're available.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want, should I email or?
But just say, get with
Yep.
Victor. and-
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
All right, great.
Victor's our acting
So
town
we need
planner,
what,
so.
to table this, or?
Yeah, I would say just to have a motion to table is pending a, getting
Sidewalk.
a sidewalk
So
determination.
I'll make a motion that we table application 2022-1652 Twin Lakes Road until we have a sidewalk.
Yep, and-
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, very
All
good,
right,
so,
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
I'll email you. Thank you.
very
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to item 5, Wetland Enforcement Officer's Report. The first one would be a violation at 213 Forest Road. So, if you have anything to say, Vic, tell us about,
So,
update us on that?
One second.
Nope, that's right, no, no rush.
Play the shuffle game. Okay. See if it really is the next one. So this one was violation at 213 Forest Road. So the last transmittal that I had from Eric Knapp was back in March on this.
Okay.
And I believe this is the one that's, it's the pond that was basically built by the homeowner, we think.
Right,
So-
right across from the police station.
So Eric Knapp had reached out to the property owners with 3 different letters, and I think the third letter back in March said, it sounds like he had had some other communication with the property owner and said, well, can we schedule a time to meet up to discuss some options that you folks had recommended as far as piping under the, piping
Well,
inflow into the
what happens is
pond?
the pond overflows and he has refused to clean out the area
Okay.
of the drainage.
And we actually approved an application for him to do some cleaning and improve that area, which he then chose not to do. He's not the most accommodating guy, let's
Yeah,
just say that.
so I think, I guess taking direction from you folks as far as how you want to proceed, if you want to have me start reaching out again to him to see if we can.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we obviously have a new town planner coming, but it'd be nice if you just reach out to him and at least get an idea if he's willing to at least meet with us. This has been going on so long, it's not gonna be a speedy resolution, but if you don't mind, you could just,
Yeah.
see what happens. I'm not too hopeful that he'll be too responsive, but we
Okay.
have to, I guess, is that all right, Victor?
Yeah, no, that's fine, yeah.
That'd be fine then.
I'll reach out to him, and it looks like I have a phone number here. Maybe find out, well, what kind of progress he made with Eric, if they did do. I seem to remember Eric did go out there to meet with him.
He
but-
did, but we never heard
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, it kind of got interrupted, obviously, when he left, so.
Yeah, I can follow up with him and see.
Yeah, you can just be open and just say, look, what did you and Eric discuss? And, if there's anything that we, that you need to know, or the agency members, if you guys are all right with that, it's probably the best way to do it
Yep.
for now. Okay. All right, very good. All right, let's move on to item B, which would be a possible violation at 129 Beach Street.
So the 129 Beach Street, I think you folks probably discussed that at your last meeting, and I don't know if you ever got to.
Mr. Ballantoni, right.
Right, Mr. Ballantoni.
Ballantoni, right.
And I think you were discussing putting a site walk together.
Just to take a look at exactly what happened, yeah.
Do you want me to reach out to him to see if, now that we're, it's a Saturday morning schedule?
Yeah, I think that's what our.
I guess I have a question.
Sure.
Question about it, because based on what I understand, it's these are your pictures that you took, right?
Right.
It's a, like, rip-wrapped area,
Well,
it's,
so, not really being able to get onto the property, it looked more like more of an upland area in here leading down to, which you can't see it, to the drainage way, or if it is an intermittent water course, either way. And it looks like it was cleared with a brush hog. Mr. Valentoni did say that that's the, the extent of the clearing they were gonna do. They didn't have plans
Yeah,
to
because-
take any trees down. But,
Because my concern of this is it seemed like it was a neighbor versus neighbor
Yeah.
thing. And in addition to that, there are plenty of places in town that we can point out where when you have, I don't know the proper terminology, but I'm gonna call it a water collection ditch that takes water and brings it to a wetlands or to the farm river, and there's two of them right here on Forest Road that are clear cut to that ditch. And what I recall from the last meeting, the issue was the fact that it was clear cut to the ditch and the ditch drains to wetlands. But that's just one instance, and there are numerous instances in town. There's a couple of them right by where Ashley lives, by Josie Street, I think that's how you pronounce it, where there's riprap, the water is all cleared up, it goes to the farm river.
The state did that.
Okay, and then there's another one on a house that they just refurbished where they clear cut, that goes to wetlands and farm rivers. I personally don't see any issue with that. And I really think this is a personal issue, and I think we should not get involved in it. I don't think there's anything wrong with what was done. That's my opinion.
I tend to agree with you with regards to this property, which I think is the Valentoni property, is that correct?
That's left of the driveway.
Yeah, I mean,
without toggling back and forth too much, which I can be guilty of, so
it's
the main road, Beach Street is here, and coming down the driveway, I would guess that, and it looks like the culvert that crosses under the shared driveway is in this vicinity here, and then the area that was cleared, I wouldn't use the term clear cut, would probably be like here and maybe a portion of this right here. But again, we're no.
I don't see any
I didn't
big
notice
trees
any
there.
trees or anything like that taken out. It looks like underbrush that a brush hog type machine. I guess that's I think
Sure.
the term they use for those machines.
When you went out to take
flail.
pictures, did it look like the slope was undermined, like it would? it
No,
really-
I didn't, I mean, again, I didn't get on site. I made it a point to take my pictures from the street. But it looked like that it was, basically a surface disturbance. And those flail mowers, brush hogs, typically, it's just a spool of chains.
They just
that are
shred all
shredding
the
everything,
vegetation.
right? So they don't really create.
That wasn't, and I understand it, as long as, I just want to make, just concerned that someone might have went in with a backhoe and did something, because
No,
we've seen this in the past, what looks on the surface, I'm not saying he did that, because he was
Yeah.
very, very honest with us. That's all, I think that would be my concern, if someone went in and altered the stream, or did something, but if you're just saying brush was cleared, and you looking at this picture here, it looks much different than just, from the road level, it doesn't look that
So-
invasive.
the water course, can you
So let me.
pass your hand across that?
So we're kind of looking at it from
Right
a,
here.
so yeah, the water course.
Culvert, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing from this pond, we have a water course, but it's hard to tell on this one where it goes exactly and then crosses under the road and
So-
probably down through this area here.
So through that area there, are we just talk about the second property at all at this point?
Well, the history, we have the history of a past violation is on the agenda to talk about that property. It's up to you folks if you want to start talking about that property now or.
When were these photographs taken?
Well, this is a 2019 area photo.
2019.
And then my photos are, the two exit from the street are, I have to look at.
I think if you-
October, September.
If you looked at it today, I don't think throughout this portion here, I don't think you'll see near so many trees.
Okay.
I can't swear to it or anything, but I've looked at the property from the road as well. And a lot of big trees were taken out in that area. I don't know what's going on in where your hand is,
Right.
cursor or whatever.
Can I ask a question? The neighbor that complained has been further that, the next property over that way?
I think
This-
it's
it's that
Yeah.
property.
the next property.
That's the guy who
Yeah.
spoke at the, okay, I got you, all right. So,
Yeah.
just to get an idea, does the water flow from the pond down under, or I just trying to get the flow direction?
I don't think
The
so.
other way.
Goes the other way, I would think, right? Because looking at the topography, it's hard to look from this picture, but looking from the road, it looks like it.
That was a
naturally-
huge slope that was cleared.
Right.
And so
So
it's
it must
gotta
go that
travel
way,
down.
yeah, it must go this way, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I'm pretty sure it goes, the flow goes the other way, yeah. North to south-ish, this way, towards this way.
You think it goes from the pond
Yeah.
south? Okay.
No, I believe it's coming from this area.
And flowing down, yeah.
Flowing
Yeah,
down.
okay, that's
There's-
what I was thought
yeah.
initially, that's.
There is
I
another
wasn't
pond
sure.
on the other side of Beach Street, to the, I don't know, would it be south or the east of it?
Heads overall south.
Yeah, and there's a pond there that this water course, or
Yeah.
intermittent water course
So
goes
the
into.
flow is basically top to bottom on the picture.
Yeah, yeah. But, I mean, from what I've seen, it looks nice, all right? But it's, as I said at the last meeting, it's not the way we would have preferred to have dealt with this. However, at this particular point, at making any kind of major restoration back to what it was would be more disruptive than leaving things the way they are. However, I feel that the area, because it's been more or less cultivated down to the waterway, there should be some written restrictions on how that piece of property should be handled going forward.
Well, there shouldn't be any disturbance in that area without coming to us beforehand, not after
Well,
the fact.
yeah, right.
That goes with anyone's property, but that would be my biggest concern, obviously.
But it's done. It looks a lot nicer than it did before. I drive that road fairly regularly.
I mean, like you said, you make perfect sense, and I know Ashley and Frank have spoken. I just want to make sure that, looking from here, because this isn't, that there's isn't something that we should go up and look at, but if it's established and, and there's no more damage or
Well-
disturbance, I should say.
Well, big trees have been removed from this area, and
But it's a different.
plantings have been.
Well, I just want to focus on this now. 'cause
Okay, on that.
That's all, just because
I don't
it gets
kinda-
confusing if we, so.
I don't see a major issue there.
Okay. So does everyone, do we
Yeah,
decide?
I let this one, my concern is that there's a lot of, even regarding the next one you're gonna talk about, there's a lot of examples in this town where the grass is cut to the culverts, and I just pointed out too on Forest Road that
Yeah.
most of us drive by, and we can't enforce that. I mean, it's all over town, and like I said, we went up to the Lake Gillard Walk a week or two ago that the Women's Club put up, and we went by a couple of houses on whatever roads we take, because I don't know the roads up that way, I don't drive up there. And you saw the same type of thing where they're all cleared out. I personally don't have any issue with it, I think it looks nice. If it was my property, I know I would clear it up to the culvert too, because I wouldn't want junk there.
Well, my thing, I'd want, and I mean, I'd rather have grass there than have dirt and things.
Right.
You want it, the whole
You
thing
want
is,
it to
once
look
it's
nice.
established, yeah, you're right, and you don't want it to erode. I mean,
As long as it's not in a wetlands area, that will then cause erosion. And that's what my concern is with the slope there and clearing the slope.
I think you should,
Do you think we should
I think you
take a
should
look
try
at it?
to combine the two and just take a look at it. So
Well,
that-
well, let's just, like I said, just for the sake of being fair, do we
Okay.
want to take a look at that one? Because we'll discuss the next one second. I just want to.
I-
There's really nothing we can do now. It's been cleared, but we can say to them, you cannot clear it
Do any
again.
further clear? Well, I have
And
no
we've
problem.
done that several
Right.
times with lots of different people.
So the thing is, we don't necessarily have to go, again, to say anything, I mean, going out and looking at it isn't gonna really change.
No,
And
it's not.
we just need to draft a letter then to
But
Mr. Valentoni and
What my
say,
question is besides the intermittent water course, is there wetlands there? Because I don't see any kind of
I don't know if it's just the drainage
boundary,
area.
right, is it just the stream or
The
is
rest
it
could be just
more?
woods, and we know that, we've had wooded drainage swales and, or, intermittent water course that drain when there's heavy rains, but, there's really no wetland soil around it, it's.
Okay.
So as part of the original subdivision, we have the complainer's property here, we have the Valentoni property here, feeding into 123 property here.
So there is
It was flagged
wetlands.
as a
Right,
wetlands
it is wetlands.
area,
Okay.
and back then it looked like it was a 20-foot buffer zone that you were working with, so. This is just a historic map from the subdivision from, can I get a date there? 86.
86, yeah.
She didn't that far, 86, yeah. So, that's quite a long time ago. I don't know if anything would have changed with the wetlands boundary or. Not that long. It is that one now. I've even been realizing it is that long ago now. Yeah. Okay, so, but.
Well, wouldn't it
if I-
be grandfathered in if the original boundary was 20 feet? How does that work?
So if
Because when
this
that
is-
was approved for 20
Right,
feet.
Right,
as long as no new.
The housing development was, but if this is the wetland area and the wetlands comes up in here and they needed a 20-foot buffer, that's still clearing. in
No, I know,
one-
I am not arguing.
But I think, so from the standpoint of a wetlands approval, I believe it's only a 5-year approval. And so whatever conditions came with the approval kind of expire after 5 years, and then I think it's 5 years.
Yeah.
And then what a typical property owner in town is working with is your wetlands regulations, and
Whatever's
and
current
I know
applies.
I'm like just recently kind of assigned as a staff liaison, but I'd even caution you as far as going on record with a few of you saying that, okay, it's
Yeah.
okay to have grass up to the edge of it's just a water course, or they're not really wetlands because it's grass already. Well, your regulations are specific where
Yeah.
it's 100-foot
Right.
regulated
As a current,
area.
right.
We say buffer, whatever.
100,
But
200 feet if you're near the farm
then
road water.
in your regulations in section, whatever, is that 4 point something, I think, it's very specific as far as what is allowed without a permit and what isn't, and it says no clearing of I think clearing of vegetation is one of the things in there, so it's like, I get it,
It's okay for one
I
and
probably
not
do
okay
the
for the
same
other.
thing, but they're not supposed to.
What I'm trying to point out, though, is there's a lot of instances in this town where it's not
Yes.
being enforced.
Yes, but there's also instances where we have enforced from complaints that we've gotten. And
Yeah,
we
but
told them they
this
can't
complaint,
clean it
from what I understand, this guy complains all the time. And these neighbors don't get along. And we wouldn't have known about it if he didn't complain. Right? So, I mean.
But now that we know, we can't ignore our regulations.
But we also know that there are 2 instances now on Forest Road, and multiple instances of the same, then we should go after all those people. And we're not gonna do that. We can't even enforce some of the things on this document.
Well, I like I said, getting back to, just to wrap this one up, I think what Ash said is correct. We're not gonna go back and redo everything and cause more, but I think
No, I
we should
agree.
we should definitely draft a letter to Mr. Valentoni, right? And just say, look, there can be no further disturbance in this area. If you plan on doing any further disturbance, you must come before inland wetlands, either with a verbal presentation or an application. I think that's reasonable. It's really, should apply to anyone in the town that you should, but.
I still think we should be taking a look at it so you know what's there now. So then you know what you might be enforcing in the future.
I mean, I don't have a problem taking a look. Just looking at it,
Because more than likely, truthfully, in the future, this would never come up to us anyway. It would be handled by the wetlands officer.
Yes.
right? Because this is
Yes,
one of
it would.
those,
It would be handled.
this is one of those
Right.
things that I think would fall in what a wetland, the
Yep.
new town planner, wetland officer would take care of.
Sure.
It would, but we don't have that right now.
But we will.
I know.
I know Victor hopes we will soon. Yesterday.
So-
I know, Victor, I
Just
hope
to-
to pay you double. You're doing double
So
duty.
again, just to wrap this one up, we should, the very least, we should send a letter, you know, to them, and, right, I think that, we all agree on that, right?
Yes.
So then part two is, do we really, you know, we all, do you wanna go and see it, or you just wanna send a letter and let the
Or
next?
do we want to see it before we send the letter?
Well, really, I mean, seeing it, they still need to know they shouldn't have done
Yeah.
any disturbance, that's all I'm
Fine with
saying.
me.
Yeah, I think we should send, I don't think that, I mean, it should be a prerequisite, I just think that letter should be sent because it was done, you know?
I think the letter's fine.
Yep.
All right.
And then if he has to point out if he's gonna do it again, he's gotta come and,
Because if we all agree, we're not gonna go in there and have them try to restore it and
No.
put all the brush back. So if that's the case, then I'm happy with just sending the letter and then, you know, if we see any other future disturbance, that's a different story. But I just wanted to put it to rest and but the, you know, a lot of times this is education. A lot of, you know, people do stuff on purpose, but most times it happens out of not understanding all the wetlands regulations
Oh, I know.
and implications. So you never know which it is. So this way, by sending a letter, we've done our due diligence with that. Is that acceptable for this?
Sure.
Okay. So does that sound good, Victor? If you
Yes.
could draft some up? Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now let's go to item C, which is review of a historic violation at 123 Beach Street. And it looks like we have something from, looks like 2013, that in Carol Zeb. So it looks like a lot of things were addressed at the time. There's pictures.
does
So-
anybody remember, did this come to us? Because I don't remember it at all.
No,
I don't.
I don't.
So this is an example where the wetlands
This is
officer took.
2013.
I
no,
This
We
is-
might have gotten a report, but I don't ever remember going out there and looking at it, so I can tell you that.
I don't remember it at all.
But, you know, a lot of times, the wetlands officer did, you know, would check and do things and report to us.
Yeah.
So this could have been definitely, but it looks like there was a lot of documentation here, so, which is good, the pictures, I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
So if I could jump into.
Sure,
so
no,
from-
get
so
enlightened, it's
from,
just- yeah.
So from May 10th, 2013, the notice went out, you know, regarding clearing of trees and vegetation without a wetland permit.
Yep.
Within a regulated area. And it seems like there was a sketch that was included with that, and it showed the area where there appeared to be
Trees
cut
cut.
trees.
Disturbance, right.
That was outside of that flagged wetland area that I showed you on the, that previous map we pointed out. And this is just a section of that map.
Right.
So there's that portion within the regulated area, the 100-foot regulated area. There was a response from the neighboring homeowner on the same day, did I say March, May, or?
No, it's May.
Still May?
Yeah.
So same day, a response stating that the clearing that was being done was not any clearing that was done on any trees that were being cut down. It was trees that fell down during a storm and caused storm damage. And I mean, I'll just say I apologize for some of the pictures. I included them because they were in the total packet that was submitted
Yeah,
by
that's
that homeowner, but,
That's
you
fine.
know, just gives you an idea of some of the damage, some of the
Yeah.
trees. I think some of the trees that fell, they probably did end up cutting, like this picture.
Yeah, if they're damaged, I
At the
wouldn't-
stump, just to say, all right, take the break down
Right.
to a stump level. I mean, you can
Right.
even see on that one.
Yeah, it becomes a
the
health
trees
safety
hollowed
issue.
out.
If you have trees that are cracked or bent, you know,
This was probably a break, and, you know, I'll just scan through, there was damage to a bridge that crossed that same water course just downstream on the next adjacent property.
Oh, I see the bridge, yeah.
is that bridge still there?
Or
Or that's 113?
that's 113.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it is.
Okay.
It might still be there. And then if I know I'm flowing through some pictures here because there's quite a few, but I just wanted to get to the follow-up was May 15th, 2013, saying that the violation had been rescinded and, agreeing that the information from the 113 homeowner was helpful. And then Carol Zett did say that, you know, she pointed out some locations of other trees that were in maybe poor condition within that buffer regulated area, and said, well, if there's any future clearing of those trees, to let the Wetlands Commission know, or the Wetlands agent know before any of those are cleared. So the only other thing that I thought was interesting, and it is, you know, it's a little hard to, let me flip this, because I like looking at it this way, but I did have the luxury of pulling up an aerial photo on our GIS from 2013, so we're pretty aware of where we are now that we've just talked about the other property, but that culvert comes under the road here, and you can see the water course, whether it's intermittent or not, but, you know, I kind of thought it was interesting that you can see the outline of some of these trees, and especially this clump here, if you look at it.
Yep.
That's 2013, which is right around when this storm happened, so I don't know if this is 2013 before or after the storm, but I did also have another photo where I overlaid, you know, tried to get the same general area. And I know we could debate this, but it looks to me like, I mean, if I had to play forensics on the photos, it looks like these trees here, and some of this is shadows, it's hard to tell. I don't think this is trees growing in this grass area here. I think you're catching a shadow from a tree that's, you know, stemmed up here on this side of the water course. But I think, you know, overall, I think we're picking out those trees that were cleared right around in this area here. You can even see some stumps.
Yep.
And then all the other trees and shadows kind of look the same as the 2013 photo. So, you know, I know we're talking about, well, how did this get to be a grass area down to the edge of the water course? And yes, there are some stumps on this side of the water course through here, but I don't see between again, this is 2019 and 2013, where it wasn't just a grass area down to the edge of the water course.
So it's
I
now
don't
all
know
cleared
how-
out, and it's grass all the way to the water?
Right, and.
There's a lot of erosion too.
From my,
Some of it's wood chips.
from my view from the road, I couldn't tell that any of, you know, I can kind of zoom in with the photos pretty good now these days, but I really couldn't tell if there were, that any of the stumps were, you know, you could tell if the stump's been cut in the last year or two. Everything else looked like they were older cuts there, but that's kind of just my opinion using, I know it's like GIS forensics here, but, you know, I mean, I could do it again and say, what are we on? That's the 2013, 2019, kind of looks like the same. And now that leaves us a gap from 19 to 22, but, you know, that's where we kind of have to fill in and say, can we see enough from the road to avoid having to request a sidewalk?
I mean, you know, from the documentation you gave us, obviously it looks, I'm going to assume Carol addressed it, it looks like, you know, it was resolved to her satisfaction, so. At least there's some documentation for us to look at.
But has there been a change since the 2019, and now all the trees are gone?
Well, you know, like I'm kind of pointing out that I don't think that this side of the water course has changed from what I'm seeing from the photos from the street. It looks like it's still grass clear down to the edge of the water course. So even from 2019 to 2022, there's nothing
Okay.
that is left there to clear on that side of the water course.
Can you
So
pull
it's
up this
consistent.
picture again?
Street historic, so yeah, that's gonna be, what is there, like a horizon there?
It has the bushes at the top. It just looks like a lot of erosion happening. I want to take a closer look.
Oh, I know which one that you're talking about.
It's on the side of the hill, there's a series of bushes
It's
or shrubs.
one of the pictures in this packet.
There it is.
Not all those pictures.
Yeah, that right
Okay.
there. It just looks like there's a slope there, and with the clearing of whatever trees were taken, it looks like the property is eroding down the slope. Like nothing's
Yeah.
holding it there.
I can't really tell if it does look like that, but I can't tell if it's,
Since
the way
it's
the
my
vegetation is growing or not.
Since it's my property, am I allowed to speak, since you're talking about me? Chairman, am I allowed to speak?
If you want to come to, and just address this picture, we would. if you
I
give us
gotta
consent.
address a few things if you want. So nothing's been done.
Just gotta state your name for the record.
Victor Peter Andrea.
Gotcha.
123 Beach. So that was done after the storm. Now it's all mulched, it's been maintained like that. So the shadows that you see in the pictures that Victor showed you are the shadows from the tree that are on the other side. Everything down there's been cut down. There's probably 20 or 30 trees that went down at the time. The
From
bridge
that storm event that was.
destroyed everything,
Gotcha.
destroyed my neighbor's bridge. Her husband had cancer at the time, so we did the best we can to clear it up. But here's the problem. If I didn't clear everything out right away, that flooded all the way past my bushes. Almost took her driveway out. I have, and my neighbor, we have a 40-inch to 48-inch culvert. They only have an 18 at the other end. So if I don't keep it clear and maintained, it's restricted. The other issue is I have a photograph of a gentleman, it's right there, on my property taking photographs and photographing from the road on the, hold on, I get to speak, on the date that my neighbor, which I wasn't even complaining on, I got no issues with Ken, nice guy. Him and my neighbor fight all the time. It is what it is. I haven't touched that stuff since Carol's Ed. It's all grass. I maintain it. I spend a lot of money maintaining it. It's all mulch. What I do have a problem is if this board doesn't give anybody permission having jurisdiction to take photographs. You showed my neighbor photographs of my house with my wife in there. We don't have any shades on. Okay? That is illegal. Illegal. Jer, I don't know you. I know you're a nice guy. But it is my home. If you wanted to come down there, just call. If you want to check my property, by all means, go and look at it, all you. You'll see it, I told Vic. It's a little uncomfortable. I got you on camera. There's 16 cameras there. I install them for a living. My neighbor called me to tell me he called you and you came down to take photos. Ken Alvin himself. And then he sent me a text, no hard feelings, I called you to come down. That's out of the realm of this board.
You called me?
I didn't call you, he called you.
No, he called me, but I didn't step a foot on your property. And
Then it
I
could've been
didn't feel very welcome with all the signs saying,
The guy that put them up, just so you know, and be careful what you're saying, he died, okay? He put them up 10 years ago.
Okay.
Be careful.
I,
Listen to me carefully, okay? He
You're not
died.
victim.
You know
Somebody
what?
put them up there that
but
passed
but I
away.
did not take any pictures of your house.
You did. You showed my neighbor the pictures, you showed people the signs,
I
you
didn't
showed
sh-
people.
I didn't show any pictures to your neighbor.
Yes, you did.
No, I showed them here, I showed the
You showed
pictures of.
pictures of my house to the board. There's nothing cut
I-
there. They're having a
okay.
dispute, sir.
I just take offense by what you're saying because it's not true.
Let's just end this.
And
I'll show you the photos
It's
if
all
you
right.
want.
I appreciate your input on your lot, because that was our main question.
Go look at it.
And I
There's
understand
nothing
your
cut.
concern,
He
but-
was there.
Okay.
I
I
just
still
want to.
have every picture I took on my phone.
Could I see him then?
Sure.
If you don't mind, I'd like to
Sure.
step forward. I do have kids in the family in that house.
Yeah. Here's where they begin.
That's correct. So as you can see, it's all grass, right?
Yeah. That's what I took a picture of.
That's from the road.
That's from the road. I never
I haven't
stepped-
seen these,
I
so-
never
I'm just
would,
saying, it's all grass.
I never would have stepped on your
But you scroll
property.
through and see that he didn't step on
I
the
trust
property.
him, I understand, sure.
No, I'm upset when you make
Those
accusations.
pictures and those things will never come down, unless the trees fall, which they're going.
Are you talking about the signs saying, it's protected by Smith and Wesson and stuff like that? Yeah, that's fine.
We're not complaining
I'm
about
not
the
complaining
signs.
about
So
that.
was me.
But that, no,
but this
he
is-
said that he stayed on the street because of
My
the
two
signs too.
neighbors, listen, let's just go off there for a thing. They're fighting, they're gonna fight forever. They're both nice people. They don't hurt nobody. If we don't maintain that, the problem is if you really wanna go there and down the thing, Ken Alvin has 2 drain pipes in front of it covering it up. So if we don't keep it clear, it goes around there and erodes the little thing there.
It goes in through
You-
your side and out through the other?
No, so it comes,
Comes in through theirs and out
you
through
know
yours.
that? Go to the map.
You have heard me say,
Actually, maybe you can answer a question for me. Does the flow come down this way?
Yeah, so that's dry until only it rains.
Okay,
It's only for.
but it travels, I want to say north, I don't know the orientation, but it travels this direction.
Travels
is what you're saying.
south.
Okay, thank you.
So I have an artesian well, it's high there, it's been there forever, it's 35 gallons a minute. My side is the only side that's wet. That feeds the fire pump. If we don't keep it clear, what you're gonna notice, so on Beach Street,
the road already eroded way. Because if you scroll this way up a little
I
bit,
can't, I mean, I can only,
that's
I
far
can only
enough.
grab on the picture what I got, there's that bridge.
That, see the bridge that's there?
That was the-
That collapsed when the guy was sick.
Right, that's the one.
That's
we
one of the
have pictures
pictures.
of.
No, you can flip through all of them, there's a lot more than that video,
That
but,
is-
but why do I need to tread carefully about who put up, I don't care who put up.
Because the guy died to put him up. He's a personal
Okay,
book.
but,
He died right after they went.
I'm sorry to hear that, but,
It's personal book.
but it kept me off your property. I wouldn't have gone on anyways, but I certainly didn't feel welcome to approach it. Yeah.
So there's it's an 18-inch hole on this side, Franny Merle in the town. I've been working with the town on this left-hand corner. So all the trees came down during one of the storms. So what we did, Franny put crushed stone, 1.5-inch riprap to keep it from eroding down and try to go down. They put some curves down, but she only has an 18-inch opening. So if I don't maintain it and give it enough opening down there and maintain the swell of it, it'll flood out and take her driveway.
No, if you're keeping the waterway open, that's reasonable.
When Carol came here, that was a $35,000 cleanup for me. That was a lot of money, you know?
But it looks, from this, it looks like you complied, and it looks like everything was resolved.
I didn't do anything, it's between the two neighbors, I don't want to get involved here. Yeah, I heard a lot of things about it,
But I've said right from the beginning in this meeting that I thought your property looks really good.
Thank you.
My only goal out of this whole thing is to put some kind of stipulation that you will not use fertilizer within X number of feet of the water course. That's all. And I'm not asking for you to put, multiflora rose and other invasives back into the area. It looks great. I would like to have done the exact same thing.
So everything that goes down there, because I have pets and dogs, I'm environmentally friendly, I'm a freak like that, because my well, I don't want to be drinking contaminated water. If I'm gonna do it, are you gonna do it all the way down to the whole roadway?
You know,
See, you gotta catch 22.
you know, of course,
You
but.
gotta catch 22, because I didn't get a complaint put on me. I'm here out of courtesy. Did I get any complaints on me? Not one. I'm here because of our old stuff. You come to my house, you go anytime you want, you're more than welcome, go down my driveway, go to my house. We share the right of way, I maintain it. I like Ken, Ken's a good guy. The two of them, Mark doesn't hurt a fly, he did his wife. We're all good. The issue I have is if you come down, I don't say nothing about Ken's property, but I am right now. And this is gonna be your first, go to a picture where you can see Ken Allen's.
I gotta get on to,
Yeah,
hold on.
he's gotta go
I have to go on to the other.
I comply with everything because of the boards that I sit on. It seems like my name just comes up my house.
Let me get you oriented, so, flip in there.
There, just,
Okay, so see that garage that's right there? Oh, to the left. That's Ken Allen. There's a fork in the tree fort up there, right?
I.
Ties to the garage. I don't know. He finished the second floor. I wish him the best. Doesn't got a permit for it, but he finishes the second floor. The guy's a good guy. But if you're gonna fight with the neighbor, I got nothing to do. I maintain and spend, if you came to my house, it's, me and my wife are here. We spend a lot of time going out there. We like being out in the woods. All that has not changed. Where he cleared, if he didn't clear that, because Ken decides to block the other side of it, and make a little dam, and then it hits it real hard, it floods. And who we flood out our neighbor that's gonna lose their driveway. We're not doing that there. Jesus. So me and my neighbor try to keep it clear. Ken, I got no issues with Ken. Ken's just, he loves environments, he likes trees, he sees things missing, but if he just came there, I can show you the text, it was like this long, he was apologizing, and he used your name. I called you, I made you come down and take pictures, like he just gave a whole spiel.
yeah, he did call me, sure.
So where it goes under, is this 18 and the 40's on this side?
No, that's all 40.
This is all 40, okay.
So the 18 is on her side.
So it's down further
Right, so-
side of the yard.
Oh, okay.
So me and Mark don't clear that right there.
Right, so it would back up in your yard and rush out her
They'll
driveway.
take her driveway out. Once her.
Because over on her acreage and
But
culvert.
the problem is once hers is flowing that bad, it comes out at an angle, hits Beach Street. Beach Street comes across from the water company property, that hits, and if you go down there, there's a 40-foot hole in it. We've been doing this for
Or
years.
it's been eroding because of the water, the
Right
massive
now,
flow
it's
of water.
2 feet from the road.
Yeah.
Another 4 or 5 years from now, you're gonna end up in.
Yeah.
that's something, yeah, Fran will have to
The only
probably
thing
take
I
a
would
look at.
appreciate is if you could just take a look at
Get rid of these pictures?
it. If you don't,
I don't mind.
since I didn't do anything wrong, just, you see it's grass.
I didn't even, when I went there, I didn't even know that they were two separate properties. I didn't even notice the house in the back, Bill and Tony's house.
I just happen to have a way of getting in the middle of things in town.
It's all right. What? That's all right. Well,
I think half the board.
it's all right. Well,
I appreciate
again,
all your time.
Thank you for
and big
coming in
thanks.
and sharing some insight, because that's always helpful when we're looking at something like this. And again, we appreciate your time, and don't worry, well, you know, we're pretty much all set, I think, so.